Hey everybody, welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show with Debra Prinzing. This is episode 522. This is the weekly show about slow flowers and the people who grow and design with them. It's all about making a conscious choice, and I invite you to join the conversation and the creative community as we discuss the vital topics of saving our domestic flower farms and supporting a floral industry that relies on a safe, seasonal, and local supply of flowers and foliage. This show is brought to you by slowflowers.com, the free online directory to more than 880 florists, shops, studios, and farms to design with local, seasonal, and sustainable flowers. It's the conscious choice for buying and sending flowers. Well, in celebration of our Slow Flowers podcast's 8th anniversary, we launched our new live stream video format, calling it the Slow Flowers Show, with the goal of sharing the faces and voices of our members, as well as tours of their farms, their shops and studios, and most of all, their flowers. I'll share our sponsor thank yous at the end of today's episode, so let's jump right in and get started. Yesterday, I took a short ferry ride from the mainland, Point Defiance in Tacoma, to Vashon Island, Washington, a beautiful evergreen place with deep agricultural roots and people who love both living among nature and having a relatively quick access to the urban scene in Seattle and Tacoma. I look at Vashon Island every day from my upstairs office window across Puget Sound to the west. I don't get there often enough, but before summer comes to an end, I knew I wanted to schedule an afternoon visiting two Vashon Island Slow Flowers members on their flower farms. Originally, I had planned to bundle the two videos into one big episode. I was going to visit Sweet Alyssum Farm and Marigolds Farms. But rather than having not enough content to share with you, I have an embarrassment of riches, more than one episode's worth. So today you'll enjoy Vashon Island Flowers Part 1, and that includes my visit to meet Alyssa O'Sullivan of Sweet Alyssum Farm. And then next week, I'll go to part 2 and introduce you to island flower grower Haley Dams of Marigolds Farms. Meeting them and enjoying a glorious change of scenery, not to mention personal field tours, inspiring conversations, 2 ferry rides. It was just the thing I needed to recenter my mind and remind me about why I care so much about nurturing and supporting the Slow Flowers movement and its members through content like you'll enjoy today. So let's jump right in and meet Alyssa O'Sullivan and enjoy our Sweet Alyssum farm tour, followed by my extended interview with her. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting me or letting me invite myself to Sweet Alyssum Farm.
Yeah, of course.
Give us, introduce yourself and your farm to us.
So, I'm Alyssa. This is Sweet Alyssum Farm. This is our 2nd year on this property, but my 3rd year as a business.
Wow. And you're on Vashon Island.
We're on Vashon Island, yeah.
And what is your acreage? It's massive.
So our whole property is about 12 acres, and we have things like camping and events for kind of a small venue space too. Just starting that.
That's terrific. I saw that on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So creative.
But then cut flowers, this is the main
Oops, I teed up the wrong video, so let me start over again. Thanks for your patience. Here we go. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting me or letting me invite myself to Sweet Alyssum Farm.
Yeah, of course.
Give us, introduce yourself and your farm to us.
So, I'm Alyssa. This is Sweet Alyssum Farm. This is our 2nd year on this property, but my 3rd year as a business.
Wow. And you're on Vashon Island.
We're on Vashon Island, yeah.
And what is your acreage? It's massive.
So our whole property is about 12 acres, and we have things like camping and events for kind of a small venue space too. Just starting that.
That's terrific. I saw that on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So creative.
But then cut flowers, this is the main and only field behind me. It's probably about a half an acre, a little more than that.
So is this your second growing season here or your third?
This is my second growing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can we just look at your beautiful Rudbeckia? I mean, I can't take my eyes off of it. Why don't you walk down the row and tell us what you've got?
It's kind of a little bit of a mix since we had some seeding labeling issues, but we have like Sahara, Cherokee Sunset, and some of the cherry brandy too. So it's really all starting to pop now, which is nice.
So incredible. So these are they perennials or annuals?
I've been growing them as annuals.
Okay.
There is the smaller, daintier kind, Tribeca, I think it's called. I grow as a perennial. I have tried a few. We have a U-pick field at the front where I put these, and they've come back every year for me. So
the colors are amazing, and they're so clean. Like the foliage is pristine.
Yeah, they're looking really good this time of year. So.
Well, you want them to peak now, right?
Yeah, it's been adding good fall color to the mix.
So do you start them as seeds indoors then? They're not direct sown, right?
No, I do. I start them in seed, like still in early spring. They are pretty slow to reach maturity for me. They like the long hot days. So I have a greenhouse where pretty much everything in this field was started by seed.
Wow.
Plants in the greenhouse.
Wow. Okay, what's next? What
This
is this?
Sweet Annie
Okay.
or Artemisia. I use it as a foliage, but also I dry a lot of it I do a lot of dried wreaths and dried arrangements.
So Sweet Annie does flower, right?
It does. So it's just starting to put on little buds now, but it will make like little tiny yellow flowers all over it.
But it kind of gives you 2 seasons if you can cut it for foliage too.
It can be a little like quick to wilt as foliage, but it works in some scenarios.
Wow. Yep, I see that there's definitely an autumnal vibe here.
Autumn is coming through.
Just starting. And all your amaranth.
Yeah, I have lots of beds of things that have kind of finished, so we're starting to work on turning things over.
When you turn things over, are you putting in cool spring crops for next year?
Yeah, well, I'm going to start seeding for that soon. I think on my spreadsheet I have next week flagged is to start seeding some of my cool weather. So that would be like September 6th. So I kind of like just start tarping the beds that I think those are going to go into now, just so that they're hopefully clean and ready.
So you'll mow that down and then tarp it. You're not going to, there's no time to do a cover crop then?
Probably not at this point. Beds that I'm not going to plant anything over winter in, I do put a cover crop in usually, or I just tarp all winter. Those are my 2 overwinter strategies.
Well, the birds are happy here.
There are a lot of birds right now.
Wow, and so the next vivid crop are the marigolds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Marigolds, I think these are cocoa, and the heads get really large, which is fun. Like farmers market customers have really liked them.
What stage are you cutting them at? Like show me one.
Anywhere between, I mean, I will cut them like this, or I will let them, they still last pretty long in this really large
jumbo stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I actually make a lot of marigold chains, like garlands with them and sell at market, and those are really popular too. And they last a really long time like that.
They last a really long time as in water, but also then naturally to dry.
Yeah.
Oops. And this is like an example of something you'll tarp over?
Yeah, so we just mowed this down, I think, today. It's a finished crop. So I'll probably like pull everything up and get it flatter and tarp it over.
Got it. Yeah, because it looks like you have your landscape cloth, you're burning holes in for your...
I mostly grow through this landscape fabric with the holes burned, and then my drip tape runs underneath it. I have a bit of a slope to my field, so I have to put the drip underneath it or it all just runs down.
Just to retain the moisture, yeah. But on the other hand, you have good drainage then.
Yeah, it's true.
And millet?
Yeah, millet. I just experimented with some grasses here. Yeah, the millet is what's coming in now. I have like bunny tails behind, but you can't.
How fast does it switch over from summer to fall? Like
it's happening really fast.
I can tell from your palette.
With my like farmers market bouquets, I've been having to hold back making ones that look too fall yet.
Because you still have summer colors to sell, probably.
I do, yeah, and people just aren't quite ready for it. I mean, some are, but
yeah.
It's like late August. A lot of people are like, they'll see the fall colors in a bouquet, but they're like, no, like a couple more weeks.
They want the oranges and pinks and purples.
If I can add pink in, that usually usually helps. So. I have a lot of status and things for drying here. Tons of straw flowers.
I love straw flowers so much. I've never grown it, but somebody gave me a few starts this year, and I'm just find them so satisfying.
It's probably one of my favorite crops, and it's actually it does pretty well for me. It's popular with all of my sales channels, and then I just dry whatever I don't sell, and I like that it has many stages it can be used.
Yeah, so you have a lot of white, but then beyond that you have more of the jewel tones and the pinks.
I do. I have pinks and the apricot color, and I actually have another bit of straw flowers.
All right, well, let's keep going. Okay, I'm sorry. You still have sweet peas. What is going on here? Tell me about that.
I'm shocked too. I keep thinking it's the last week, but so they've gotten.
I'm impressed. Jeez, Alyssa.
They're starting to go, and the stems have gotten short, but I've just been selling them like on the vine, which a lot of florists have been liking. So.
That's crazy. You have 2 whole rows of it.
Yeah.
So amazing. Sorry, I just cut your head off because I was looking down at this. I'm gonna just have a slight detour here. They're so pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like a month. Mine pooped out at the end of June.
I'm surprised, especially with the heat. But they're hanging in there. They're looking a little worse for wear.
But selling them with like just a longer tendril.
Yeah, just on the kind of wild tendrils, which I kind of start to do at the end of their season usually. So.
Right. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, that's kind of a rare corner on the market that you have.
Yeah.
And you
started really late for me too, so I wonder if that's why.
Yeah.
I almost thought they weren't going to take off, and then they did, and then now they're still here. So.
Wow. And then your eucalyptus is just fabulous.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about that? Do you so you've been able to, this variety is winter hardy then?
Yeah, I've had these poor plants have been ripped up and transplanted several times.
Did you bring them here from Seattle when you moved here?
I did. I brought them here from my previous farm.
Oh, for Tacoma rather.
Yeah, and they looked really rough. I did not cover them. I just basically shoved them in the ground because we moved here in like November 2 years ago.
Oh, you even moved them at a time where like they might not have responded.
But they actually have never gotten watered, like irrigated this whole season.
Just
either.
the natural winter rains, and that's it.
So yeah, but they have taken.
So you're using them a lot for foliage then?
I do, yeah. I think I'm going to move them out of my deer fenced area because they've noticed the deer don't eat them.
Right, and this is precious real estate.
Precious real estate. So I think they're going to get transplanted again, poor things.
You're like, well, hey, you guys survived already.
Yeah.
What? So you have how many high tunnels?
Right now I just have 2. These are the 2 Farmer's Friends, like mobile high tunnels. Although I've put end walls on mine.
Did you build these yourself?
Yeah, so they come as a kit.
Okay.
And then I was able to assemble them myself, and then I kind of built these end walls on them just because I wanted easier access than the normal way they come is just with all the plastic like kind of anchored down.
Oh, like in a kind of a cone?
Kind of a cone,
yeah.
And you have to like slide under, but I wanted doors. But I leave them up through the winter, and they've held up. This one we just mowed down and flipped today, so it's kind of an example of how I'm just tarping everything for now. And then
what had been in there?
It was a lot of my early season cooler flowers. My early season cooler flowers, I think I had snapdragons and bells of Ireland, bachelor buttons, a lot of my cool season stuff, and I just didn't get around to flipping it till now. But
that's okay. It'll be ready when you need it, right?
It'll be ready when.
Can we look in the next one?
Sure. Straw flowers.
I'll come around.
There's a little trench here.
Oh, I see it. Oh yes, thank you for warning me.
Yeah.
There we go.
a little messy, but
And is there just,
producing.
did you make a decision specifically about having some straw flowers in the high tunnel and some in the open field, or was it just a space thing?
Probably mostly a space thing, and then I just knew that straw flowers would be fine with the heat of summer in the tunnel. But I think I always like start my season with a vision of where everything's gonna go strategically, and then sometimes the transplants are just ready, and that's the bed that I have ready for them.
And you
so.
just carpe diem. You just have to get them in the ground.
So,
and you have some amaranth back there.
I do. I have some amaranth, which that also was maybe silly to put in a tunnel, but it just happened to fit there.
The soil was prepped and...
Yeah. And zinnias too, but I mean, they're all liking the heat. My stems.
Oh yeah,
tall.
they're all heat lovers. So
Yeah.
you made a good call. I'm gonna back up here. It just goes on and on.
Yeah.
What would you say you have just in this area in terms of growing? Is it like a half an acre or?
I think it is a little over half an acre. This whole field.
All your dahlias.
Dahlia patch. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is Maddie, who works on the farm.
Hi Maddie, I'm Debra. Thanks for your cameo appearance. Wow. Oh, Alyssa,
yeah,
they're stunning. Look how healthy they look.
They're looking much better this year than last year. I think I've learned how frequently to water them, and I was able to amend my soil a lot better this year. So I'm feeling pretty happy with
Is this one of your largest varieties then that you grow, or cultivars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have six 50-foot beds of them, and quite a few varieties. They're like my main summer focal flowers.
Good.
So.
Well, when we sit down, I'll talk to you about your distribution channels.
Cool.
I think my battery is getting ready to wind down, so let's look at one more section and then we'll switch to my iPad.
Sure. Peek at these down here.
Some perennials, huh?
Yeah, Maddie's kind of cleaning up some, but this is kind of the start of my perennial experiments. But
So this will be, once you get this established, this will just be the gift that keeps on giving, huh?
that's what I'm hoping. So I tried putting things in the plastic here and really loosening this and amending the soil initially, and hoping it will just be the garden that returns year after year.
So, okay, so starting here with the chocolate cosmos,
Yeah.
and then the oregano, you have some, is that Veronica back there?
Yeah, Veronica, I have some of the Fama scabiosa.
Yep.
My echinacea. These kind of messy beds are all like where foxglove and larkspur and delphiniums.
What's in the far, those green clumps in the far
The
distance?
big tall ones
Yes.
are chrysanthemums.
I wondered about
Yeah.
that. Wow. So you go out with a bang.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Those all were started from farmer friend who like pinched her starts and gave me the tops, and I just rooted them all.
No way. So free flowers.
Yeah, this will be my first year seeing what I get from them, but it was
Look how
kind of fun.
look how robust they are.
They've taken off. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, I think I have a
Alright.
little bit more eucalyptus back there, and Dusty Miller. Some come
I'm
again
impressed.
things.
I'm impressed. And so is it just the two of you full time, or?
Yeah, Maddie's here 2.5 days a week.
She runs the show.
But you know what? It's nice to have an extra set of hands, right?
It's been all the difference. I realized that having 2 people to do many farm tasks is like more than twice as fast as being one person doing them. So.
That's awesome. Maddie, what else do you grow on your own land too, or?
I don't. I work for a tree company business back in Portland, so this is my best friend, and she offered me my first farm job. So I commute back and forth, and it's been lovely.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you get to play together.
She's been doing great.
We're figuring it out together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. This is great, and we are going to go sit on this wonderful elevated deck. I don't know if I can zoom in or not,
Yeah.
and have a little bit more of a conversation. That looks like an amazing destination. So we'll flip over there now. thank you so much for doing this.
Sure,
It's so fun to come to Vashon for the day.
It's fun to have you.
So I'm really happy to be here with Alyssa O'Sullivan of Sweet Alyssum Farm. And which came first, your love of Alyssum or your name Alyssa? Or is that the reason you were named Alyssa?
Yeah, I think it's just that I don't know, we've always grown Alyssum in my family because my name is Alyssa. I think it was just a fun tie.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And then I learned a lot of farming on vegetable farms, and everyone incorporates Alyssum as a great pollinator plant, Sweet Alyssum. So
Right.
it just kind of lined up to be my business
It's
name.
perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, everybody I try to ask everyone the story of their business name. Sometimes it's the name of the street they're on, and it's not romantic necessarily.
Totally.
So, but we've had a wonderful article by Alyssa on Soulflower's Journal, so I'm going to put that in our show notes
Cool.
so people can read it. You wrote that during the pandemic, I think.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was kind of like the different angles I tried selling flowers in during the pandemic when things were a little uncertain.
Yeah. You were very transparent about that. I normally start by asking people to give a snapshot of their business. So why don't we talk about your business? You told us just now on the farm tour that this is your second location, but your third or fourth
third
season?
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
third season. But you were a farmer before that, working on food farms.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like you're a true beginner.
Well, yeah, but with flowers, I kind of dove right in, I guess.
Well, how do you describe the business right now?
I probably mostly sell my flowers as mixed bouquets, so
some design aspects.
some design, but like market bouquets. So like I do one farmer's market in Seattle a week, and then I have CSA programs. I'm an add-on to 2 different vegetable farms with pretty large CSAs. So those people get weekly mixed bouquets from me too. So that's where most of my flowers go, and then I do have some wholesale accounts with florists and a grocery store in Tacoma also.
Okay, so you're not just keeping all your business on this island of 10,000 residents. You're branching out.
Yeah. No, it's probably mostly off island is my business, and my business started off island too, so I think that's kind of why.
You're familiar with Seattle and Tacoma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, let's just break it down. So the Queen Anne Farmers Market is one of the most popular weekly farmers markets in the city.
Yeah.
Is it year round? It's not, is it?
It's not. It's usually like beginning of June through midway through October.
Okay.
And then this year they are doing a couple, like a handful of fall and winter markets as well. But.
And since you're growing so much product for dried flowers, that works for you, right?
Yeah, I will attend those. I do really well with my dried flowers, and I make wreaths and like Christmas ornaments and different everlasting little smaller price point items. But those do really well at in-person markets.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what does that take up? Does that take up a full day of your life every week? How do you prepare for that?
It's probably more like 2 full days because we harvest and then I have to make I do mostly pre-make all my bouquets that I take to market. So yeah, it's like a morning of harvesting, an afternoon and evening of bouquet making, and then a day of setup, market, tear down. So.
Yeah, and what are the hours?
For that market, it's an evening one, so it starts at 3 and it ends at 7:30.
Which is actually not bad.
It's great.
Because the whole day you probably don't have to, you can get things done here on the farm before you have to
I do. Yeah.
load up, go on the ferry.
Yeah, I have a few hours in the morning to kind of get some tasks done. So it's not a total lost day to market, but...
Is it Wednesday? I can't remember.
It's Thursday.
Thursday,
yeah.
okay, great,
Yeah.
I haven't been there for a couple years, but it was before you were selling there. So was it competitive to get into that market?
It can be. When I first started, there was only one other flower grower.
Wow. I know it ebbs and flows because Jello Mold started there.
That's what I heard
Yeah.
too. And we've had a few come and go even since I've been there. I started I was like a shared booth with a vegetable farm that I worked on. She very kindly kind of gave me an in, so I just had like a little corner with my bouquets. So that kind of helped me build the relationship
Yeah,
with them.
you established your credibility and
Yes.
your product quality probably.
So that really helped, and I'm really
That was
grateful
smart.
for that.
Yeah, that was smart.
Mm-hmm.
And flowers always attract people to their booths.
Yep.
So maybe that's why veggie growers have a few bunches of sunflowers and zinnias anyway, right?
They do, and a lot of people at that market do too.
Yeah.
But it's great. It makes the market look really nice.
Yeah, and you have a diversity of floral ingredients
Yeah.
that most of the market food growers don't have.
Yeah, definitely.
On the CSAs that you said they're add-ons, are they food CSAs that are Vashon Island based, or are they just from other parts of Puget Sound?
They're both actually like in the Tacoma, Puyallup
Oh,
areas
okay.
where those farms are based. I worked on both those farms previously before starting my own business. So
Again, just like your foothold into the
Yeah.
Queen Anne market, you had these farming relationships
yeah,
that opened doors for you.
that really helped me in starting my business, was taking the time to learn and meet people far wiser than I am in the ways of farming, and have someone to ask questions to, and really like the in-person connections that I've made and word of mouth things have really helped me grow.
So, and I agree. I think that's just, you choose your mentors,
Yeah.
and then you in turn mentor other people, like
Yeah.
your friend who's working
Yeah.
here. Do you deliver to those farms too? I mean, how do they get the bouquets from you?
So they have various pickup locations for their CSA, so I just basically get the flowers to them. So I do, my one part-time employee does my like 1 day a week delivery route, which
Okay.
is basically dropping all of the week's bouquets for the different CSAs with them, and then they kind of collate out which needs to go to which drop area.
That's great.
And some people pick up directly from our Queen Anne market too, if they're in the area.
So those are your main channels, but you said you also do sell to some florists
Mhm.
and some grocery. So describe how that looks.
So there's the Central Co-op in Tacoma is like just across the ferry.
I
from
just drove
me.
by that on my
They're
way to the
great.
ferry.
Yeah, so
It's beautiful, big store.
It's a beautiful big store, and they, during my main season, they usually order weekly. I do like a large size and a mini size with them. So that's really easy. Maddie just fits it in her weekly drop route. And then, let's see, the florists I have a lot of studio florists who just kind of let me know a date when they're looking for a specific palette, and I'll try to let them know my fresh sheet or estimates of what I think I'll have then. And then we just coordinate, they either pick up on the farm or coordinate a delivery time. And then there is a local flower business on the island that's like 2 blocks away from me. So
A retail?
yeah, so
Oh.
they're called Urban Bloom.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
awesome. There's always been like one retail florist at any given time,
Yep.
in my recollection from
Yeah.
back in the day. Remember Dig Nursery?
Yes.
Was that here when you moved here?
It was just closing when I
Yeah.
moved here. It just opened as Dig Deep now.
Oh,
But it's a little
on the
more
same
of
location?
the same
Okay.
location. It's a little more of a venue, gardening space, educational space, but it's really nice.
Because I remember back in the day, I'm thinking over a decade ago, when you could occasionally buy cut flowers at Dig, probably from someone who's just had a small
Yep.
backyard operation. Or maybe Sylvia Matlock, the owner, grew them herself. I'm not even sure. But I love that tradition of, you can't get more hyper local than Vashon
Yes.
grown, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The florists, are they mostly on Vashon, and you said they're mostly studio florists? or-
They're mostly in Seattle.
Oh, really? They just know you and
yeah,
pre-order.
we've connected either a lot through Instagram and social media. That actually has been a big way that I've connected with people, and then kind of from there, word of mouth. I do some freelancing every once in a while, especially in my off season, so I meet florists that way, and
Yeah.
then they know to reach out for me for specific flowers.
That's so smart. You're
Yeah.
building these networks that just feed, all roads feed back to sweet Alyssum.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you at the beginning of the interview if you describe yourself as a farmer florist, but you do have a lot of design orientation, and then the fact that you're freelancing for other florists, it's got to be just great credibility for your design work.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting better and better with it. At first I was like hesitant to call myself that because I know how to design, but I felt like I was a lot more of a casual designer, which I
like
mean,
let the flowers design themselves.
I let the
yeah.
flowers speak, and like, you know, I would just make sure that when people ordered design work from me, they like, you know, knew my style and that we were going to mesh, and it always, you know, worked out well. But I've picked up a lot of tricks over the past few years too. Sometimes I wonder if I want to shift more towards being more of just a grower and letting other people do more design work. But for now, in my like young stage of business, I'm kind of trying it all.
Yeah, and it's nice to be diversified because you're not gonna say no to any revenue stream either. When you bought this farm, did you have this vision for having multiple channels of income or sources of income, like the U-Pick and the camping and some venue use? So
I did.
oh, great! I love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I mean, I'm very much focused on the flowers being like my main thing, but
As long as you're here and you've got
as
this
long
land.
as I'm here, as soon as we saw this property and realized we were going to be able to get in on it, I kind of saw a lot of potential with it for other things. So I just really like the idea of diversifying and I don't know, trying a little bit of everything. And I get requests multiple every week to come see the farm, which is great, but I don't personally have a lot of time, but it just let me know people are really interested in being involved. So
and having some way to get close to where the flowers are.
yeah. So that kind of sparked the idea too. So then I kind of set up the venue space and camping, which has been really popular. And then I do have my farm stand and U-Pick at the front. So during season, if people want to come get a tour of the farm, I'm usually not available, but they can at least go check out the front U-Pick and really get hands-on.
Right. So you
flowers.
have a little stand, and then there's a little a patch where those are your flowers that you allow people to pick.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many? Are they mostly annuals, or what kind of mix do you have?
It's mostly like pretty low maintenance for me, so that I don't have to tend to them too much.
Yeah.
But like popular ones. So I usually put sunflowers out there.
For sure.
Zinnias. There is some of the yellow like prairie sun rudbeckia, just because they're so prolific.
Yeah.
And this year I did put dahlias out there.
Wow. And how do you charge for that? Is it on the honor system?
It's honor system, so there's a sign that just says, oh, it's $10, like think mason jar sized. If you take more, please pay more. So the island is pretty familiar with the farm stand honor pay system. It's really popular on the island. So
Mainly for food, probably.
Mainly
or
for
eggs.
food.
I saw somebody had eggs. Somebody
and
had
a lot
berries.
of eggs. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole map of all the farm stands on the island. It's a big deal.
It's just part of the culture where
Yes.
people respect the fact that this is your living and
Yeah.
they pay accordingly.
Yeah, so
That's
I
great.
mean, there's always probably going to be some loss or people forget, but for an unstaffed thing, you know, it
works for you.
It does work.
Yeah. When you added the camping, did you have to do special permitting for that?
Yeah, well, so we go through Hip Camp, which does have its own like insurance as long as things are booked through that. So that
smart.
helped.
Yeah.
But then we did have to get our own like property venue insurance that covered these like side things we were doing. So the U-Pick we had to get special insurance for also, and camping, and then as a venue if we're having weddings too. So
But your zoning or whatever your property designation is with the county or the city, you didn't have to like go convince someone.
we didn't.
Wow,
no.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was basically just making sure we had the right coverage and everybody was safe and followed the rules. But because we're using this Hip Camp program, like it's a way that you can do it on your residential land. So.
Yeah. You said it's sort of like camping, Airbnb for camping.
Yeah.
And that it's your first year and you're really almost completely booked on the weekends.
Most weekends are full, and we get a trickle of campers on the weekdays too. But it's great, and our reviews and feedback have been really good.
Oh, good. I'll put a link to it.
Yeah.
Since you said you just had a florist come stay.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
And I asked you if she wanted to cut flowers. You said you sent her up to the U-Pick. I mean, I wouldn't go stand a flower farm if I couldn't play the flowers.
I know.
So.
That's why I'm glad to have the U-Pick, because we get so many requests. People want to see the flowers and go stand in the field, and My production one's not always available for that, just because
Oh, it's fenced. too.
it's fenced and it's not necessarily made public safe all the time with my like trellising and rusty rebar.
I know you were like, watch that.
I have a lot,
little,
like I know where all the potholes and obstacles are, but I can't really let like children go run amok in
Right.
it.
Well, thanks for letting me in.
No, you're welcome.
Oh my gosh, I am so impressed with what you're doing.
Thanks.
I
yeah.
think it's going to inspire other people who haven't really thought about other ways to use their land. And, you know, I think the timing for you moving here right before COVID, you couldn't have predicted what a surge of interest there would be in back to the land kind of
Yeah.
in general, right?
Yeah, we felt really grateful because we moved here right before it, and we moved from, you know, a house in a neighborhood in Tacoma to having all this space when COVID and the lockdowns happened. So we kind of had our own little outdoor playground, and I became very aware that other people didn't.
Yes.
So it kind of jump-started, like the camping was just an idea, but then that kind of jump-started it and made it happen sooner, and people have really been grateful and responsive to it. So it makes me feel happy. It's fun to do.
So we're sitting here on this elevated deck, kind of in the field, but you happen to have some trees that
Yeah.
come up through the opening in the floor of the deck, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But this is your community kitchen then for your campers, right? Or
Yeah.
how do you describe it?
Yeah, so it's like the communal deck. So there's an outdoor kitchen that our campers use when campers are staying here. My intention is to maybe have like workshops and events that I can hold here too.
You could have a meal here too. Yeah.
We can have a meal. We have actually hosted some dinners on the farm. I have a local chef friend who hosted a dinner on the 4th of July.
Awesome.
So I want to like have more events and let people kind of come see and understand like the different seasons of the farm and what it looks like different times of year.
That's
and
awesome. I love it.
People seem really excited about it.
Well, I think I've heard the term forever farm. I think this is probably going to be it for you, right?
I feel that way. Yeah, it
Great.
feels different, and we're planning it that way. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The only thing that I wanted to follow up on that we talked about earlier, and I just would like to hear your kind of maybe advice for people who are watching or listening to this is there a tension between selling retail, like through your farmers markets and grocery store and CSA, and then also selling wholesale? Or you know, you obviously have to have different pricing for florists, or are they aware of the fact that you need to be paid, you know, not, you know, 50% of the retail costs?
Right. That's been something I've been like really sensitive to and trying to maneuver best I can in the past few years. So, I mean, I've openly like talked to some of my florist wholesale customers, like just to get a sense of what they're charging or like what they think about it. But then I know what I'm charging them, and I don't want to obviously be like undercutting that or affecting
Sure.
that price for them. So that I kind of consider all that when I price my things that I put out at my farm stand or something like that. So I feel like I'm always kind of thinking about it and trying to consider it, but I think that it's a really supportive community, at least the people that I've been doing business with, and they
value this product as value added.
They
product.
do,
Yeah.
and
Premium.
so they, understand that I have other outlets too, and I think as long as we just talk to each other and are aware of what we're all doing and what different we bring to the table,
Yeah.
it hasn't really been tense or bad in any way,
Yeah.
but I think we just all have to be aware of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And as your business evolves and maybe you have a very distinct wholesale operation, maybe you're going to grow different things for the wholesale florists, for the studio and wedding florists than for the market and grocery store. So maybe it won't even be an issue.
And that's definitely true. Like my U-pick and farm stand flowers look pretty different than usually, the orders that go out to the florists.
Yeah.
Like they kind of get the specialty colors and varieties, and
Yeah.
I really do save the best for my wholesalers. Like they put their orders in Monday usually, and I they get the best choice of things.
And are they mainly giving you a palette, or are they giving you varieties and a palette?
With the florists, it's usually we start with like, sometimes they'll send me like their mood board or the palette, and then I just let them know what I have in kind of more of a fresh sheet form. And usually it is like by the bunch. They'll say what they want.
Sure.
But like we kind of like talk back and forth sometimes. Sometimes it's like, well, anything else in blush and
because you know what
I'll know
you
what's
have,
looking good.
and you can say,
yeah.
I got a whole bunch of this, and yeah.
And really, when they go with what actually is looking best on the farm, like it's the best product, and
They're the happiest.
So if they can be a little flexible with the exact like varieties or types of flowers they get, I think then usually the order looks the best, so I'm the most proud to send it off.
Oh,
But
I love it.
yeah,
That's great.
it's
Well,
fun.
I think everything looks amazing.
Thank
and
you.
I wish I had a wedding to plan so I could come order flowers from you.
Sure.
But it's all good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm petting the soft head of
Our farm
your
dog.
wonderful dog who was barking when I drove in and now is my best friend.
She does that.
Okay, yeah.
She thinks she's tough for 5 seconds.
That's okay. I'll take that. You're going to keep all those deer away, right?
Yeah.
Scare
she
the
does.
deer. Anything else that you want to mention that I didn't ask you about all that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that really covers it. I'm kind of doing a lot. I think it was a good way for me to start. Like if people are considering where to grow their business, like trying it all has been kind of good, but I think I need to pare it down. Like I'm fully aware that I probably do need to pare some things down or like choose my avenue. So
Or if people come to you, maybe it's easier to sell to them so that you're not having to, run around. Like maybe you won't do the farmer's market for many more years because that's probably the biggest time suck.
yeah.
But on the other hand, you're probably having people ask you if they can buy buckets for their DIY wedding or
Yes.
whether you design weddings
Yeah.
and all of that too.
It comes from all angles right now, so I kind of just need to decide like what's going to be my future thing that I'll always say yes to, and the thing that might need to go away just for my time's sake. But
Are you going to do any more writing?
yeah, I hope to.
Oh, good. We want another story from you.
Sure, I would love to.
That's a winter project, right?
Yeah, I love it. My plan starting becoming a flower farmer was that I could farm in the main season and write in the winter because I love writing. And in my other jobs before I started farming, I never had creative energy for it.
Right.
And, I've been pretty nonstop with the farming in my first 3 years, but
Yeah.
I think it's starting to get back
Good.
to that cycle. So
Good.
that was my goal from
I
the
would
beginning.
love that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll hold you to it.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And the sun came out.
It's great.
Beautiful day.
Perfect.
Okay, well, we are going to probably have some extra photos to share in the show notes when we post this. And I'm going to bug you for sending me some of the fun things that you've put together for your market bouquets.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
great. Thanks. Thanks so much for joining me today. I loved that conversation and I loved visiting Alyssa. So next week in episode 522 at DebraPrinzing.com, you'll see both the video and the audio of this episode, and including lots of photos and social media links about Sweet Alyssum Farm. Before we wrap up, I'd like to share some sponsor thank yous. Thank you to our lead sponsor for 2021, Farm Girl Flowers. Farm Girl Flowers delivers iconic burlap wrap bouquets and lush, abundant arrangements to customers across the U.S., supporting more than 20 U.S. flower farms by purchasing more than $9 million of U.S.-grown fresh and seasonal flowers and foliage annually. You can discover more at farmgirlflowers.com. Our next sponsor thanks goes to the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market, a farmer-owned cooperative committed to providing the very best the Pacific Northwest has to offer in cut flowers, foliage, and plants. The Growers Market's mission is to foster a vibrant marketplace that sustains local flower farms and provides top-quality products and services to the local floral industry. Visit them at seattlewholesalegrowersmarket.com. And thanks goes to Longfield Gardens, which provides home gardeners with high-quality flower bulbs and perennials. Their online store offers plants for every region and every season, from tulips and daffodils to dahlias, caladium, and amaryllis. Check out the full catalog at Longfield Gardens. That's longfield-gardens.com. And our final sponsor thank you goes to Rooted Farmers. Rooted Farmers works exclusively with local growers, to put the highest quality specialty cut flowers in customers' hands. When you partner with Rooted Farmers, you are investing in your community, and you can expect a commitment to excellence in return. Learn more at rootedfarmers.com. Thanks so much for joining me today as our movement gains more supporters and more passionate participants who believe in the importance of the domestic cut flower industry. The momentum is contagious. I know you feel it too. I value your support, and I invite you to show your thanks for supporting Slow Flower's ongoing advocacy, education, and outreach activities. You can find the donate button in the column to the right at debraprinzing.com. I'm Debra Prinzing, host and producer of the Slow Flower Show. And next week, you're invited to join me in putting more slow flowers on the table, one stem at a time. You know, next week we'll be visiting Vashon Island again and Marmol Farms. So I'm looking forward to introducing you to Haley. The content and opinions expressed here are either mine alone or those of my guests alone, independent of any podcast sponsor or other person, company, or organization. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next week.